Okay, well, welcome everyone to the energetics of business, aka the energetics of relationships and or how we heal through relationship. I'm excited about this class. It's the first time that I'm teaching, formally teaching an energetics class on business. For those of you that don't know me, I'm Andrea Maxine Frade, and I am the founder of a coaching program called From Guidance Within. And I coach visionary entrepreneurs in their business and also in their personal lives to access deeper resources of inner leadership so that they can create a life and a business that they love and really generate longevity and good client relations through their work in the world. Especially over the last year, I've become really interested in this topic of how our deeper soul work, like energy healing, shamanic healing, spiritual healing, somatic healing, healing work can actually catapult us into the next level of success. And so that's kind of what this class is touching upon. This is probably like the tip of the iceberg. There's a lot more in this topic for me, I think. And likely I will be talking about it more. But this is my first formal class on how energetics, power dynamics, dynamics of relationship really impact us in the process of building a business that is a reflection of our deepest creative calling. So if you're interested in any of those things, you're in the right place. And I'm really hoping that this class can also be an experience for you to feel how your business is a consciousness that is guiding you to grow and evolve and to deepen in your life, not just in your business. So to start, I thought it would be appropriate to just dive into some quiet and really attune to what is here for you personally in this space today. I think that's really where it all begins, is becoming sensitive to the quiet and the depth that is offering you a way through perhaps some of the questions or obstacles that you might be facing, and also providing a space where you can really hear the deeper sound of your inner truth and what is arising for you in your life and your work today. So let's just take a few moments to get quiet together and to hold this space together. And just whatever you need to be more comfortable in your space, and closing your eyes if that feels good to do. And just allowing your body to settle in. Feeling the energy in your feet, in your seat, in the ground of your being. And feeling your own connection with the earth, beneath you, deep in the ground. Dropping any tension or excess busyness into the ground, just letting it drop. Really letting your body soften and open a little more. And welcoming all of your energy back to your body. Calling yourself back to yourself. And just keep returning to the depth of your breath, the depth of your own presence, the depth of your being, feeling here and now yourself. And letting that inner presence expand. Letting your own internal space expand. Taking up a little bit more room in your space. Really allowing your own inner fullness to take up space. And just noticing how you feel yourself embodied today. Notice how strong you feel your sense of purpose today. And where that inner purpose resides in you, where you feel it. Is it in your heart, your belly, your crown chakra? Where do you notice it most strongly? your sense of purpose. And allow that to expand as well. Breathing life into it. Letting the larger purpose you feel for your life support you. Let it animate your whole being. And just taking a look and noticing how you support your purpose in life. How clearly do you feel it and support it by the choices you make, by the habits you create? What's your relationship, your current relationship to your life's purpose? Is it strong and clear? Is it moving around? Is it changing? What's the quality of purpose as you feel it today? And seeing this or sensing this currency of purpose as a unique expression from you to the world around you. And in what ways do you sense your purpose being expressed in your life? Many of us might already feel it expressed through our work. So just noticing the flow of purpose as an energy flow, noticing how full you feel it and how full you feel it expressed from you outward to the world around you. How does that flow feel? Is it full? Is it easy? Does it feel inhibited in any way? Just noticing the flows of purpose in your life and which flows feel strong and which ones feel new or changing. And then if you have a business, we're going to start to shift the awareness to the energy body or the energy structure of your business. So that could be your sense of your creative and healing work. It could be the actual entity that is your business today. Or maybe it's the intention to have a business. But just start to see the structure of your business as its own consciousness. So you could see it as another energy body, another auric field. You could see it as a symbol. You could even imagine it as like in a tree form. But just so you get a sense of your business as its own consciousness, separate from you, and start to sense into how it feels, how it's functioning. How strong, clear, visible, active it might be. How big or small does it feel? How vibrant and alive does it feel? What transformation might it be moving through at this time? And what areas need your attention? So if you look at the spiritual orientation of your business, the clarity of intention and purpose of your business, how is that feeling to you today? How strong or weak does that feel to you today, the spiritual orientation of your business? And that would include the upper centers of the energy body. So looking at, sensing into the strength of the spiritual purpose of your business. Feeling how online or offline that is. And are there any challenges that you feel in this area? And just noticing the quality of energy and guidance you feel here on the spiritual level of your business and work. Does it have a clear direction, a clear flow and path? And then we'll just look at 3 aspects, but we're going to look at the middle realm. So the relational realm of your business. So this would include client relations, feeling of community, connection, how strong your network feels that supports your business and how healthy and aligned relationships feel in your business, or whether you might be cycling through some less than happy client relations or toxic agreements or less than optimal relationships as it relates to your work and business. So just feeling into the relational level of your business. Does it feel full and vibrant and healthy, or are there some changes happening? Or do you feel like you need a boost there in that area? And you might ask, what is the need here from my business? What does my business need to populate healthy relationships, generative relationships, prosperous and aligned relationships? What's the healing response or the remedy? What do I need to pay attention to here? And then we'll just shift one more area in the business, which is the practical level, the lower level. And this has a lot to do with how organized it feels, how structures support our purposes and our relationships, and also the money that the business is generating. So how we feel secure, how the business is turning a profit or feeling healthy in the way that it's generating and creating a return on its efforts in a way that benefits the whole system. So the way it's cared for and nurtured, the way it's creative and generative, the way that it's sustaining over time, and that it has a clear, steady foundation that can really move in the world in a confident way. So does the business have a steady foundation, good structure, clear frameworks? And is it creating a healthy return for its overall health and well-being? Are the practical efforts that the business is generating a support for its higher purposes? And then you can just look just at how purpose, relationship, and the practical skill level of your business, how they all correspond to one another. Are they all in harmony, and are they all supporting one another? And you can just notice which area feels like for you it needs the most attention. And we'll just ask any guidance, for any guidance that wants to come through. If your business wanted to share with you an important statement or lesson that it's teaching you right now, what would it be? How is the business informing your growth at this time? And just thanking your business for what it is offering to you at this time, and just coming back to your own system and your own body and feeling what you need from today. If there's a particular area of attention that is alive for you, just noticing that, and maybe giving yourself a minute or two to just journal about this experience, this meditation, taking your own time for reflection and noticing how this was for you and what you received. Okay, great. Thanks, everybody. So yeah, I think before we move on, I'm gonna pause the recording, and I'd love to hear from each of you a little bit about how that was and or how you're doing today, and then we can move on with the educational portion of this time we have. So just pause here for a moment. Great. Thanks for that share, all of you. Thank you. And I really like that that you brought that point up, the connection between, you know, what we can experience in our personal life and relationships, and then seeing the parallels in our business with clients and how we market and sell and our visibility and how willing we are to come forward depending upon how we feel in relationship. And I think it's something that I've been paying more attention to, that actually any obstacle that you face really in any area of your life is essentially a relational one. So when we're talking about energetics, when we're talking about power dynamics, when you're talking about relationship dynamics, you're looking at relationship to self, relationship to other, and then relationship to the construct you're in. And so, like with that example, right, we've got, well, with any of you, right, you could look at like, okay, what's going on for me? What's going on for the other that I know about? And then who's involved in the context of the situation, right? So there's at least 3 things you could be looking at and noticing, the first first and foremost, you always want to ask, okay, with this situation, what is coming up for me? That's usually where we want to start. And when we can start there and be really honest about what's coming up for me, what are the demands I have on myself or the demands on the other, what are the defenses, we can start to name what's happening and actually work with what's happening. And then you can do that also with whatever you're looking at, whether it's a relationship with one other person or your whole business as a construct, as its own consciousness, right? So your business is a consciousness made up of multiple relationships. Your relationship to the business, your perception of what that is, right? How you perceive your business, or don't even perceive that you have a business, right? Like as was mentioned in one of the check-ins, like I don't even see my business as my business because I'm not necessarily claiming it for myself, right? I see it as only within myself, or I'm not seeing it as separate from me, as its own entity. So that could be something to look at. And so once we can start to see on the level of, like, what do I mean by seeing? Like when we can perceive the nuances of the dynamics at play, we can start to work at a foundational level. So let me explain this a little bit, why I think it's so important. The reason I think it's so important to look at your business or any aspect of your life, right? Like it could be business, it could be a relationship, it could be a longing to grow an aspect of your life that feels like it's been in hiatus for a while. It could be any aspect, it could be your life. It doesn't really matter, but one of the reasons that I think I have grown such a fondness for bringing energy work into the coaching space, into the creative space, is because it reveals the truth of dynamics at play. We really start to see flows of consciousness that are not psychologized and that are actually revealing deeper truths than what our mind can think or grasp or know, and we're moving more in the dimension of intention and heart. Because a lot of times, specifically with business, coaching, and strategy, we get like swept up into the details of things, right? Like, how do I make this work? How do I make this real? How do I make this happen? How do I make this happen? Like there's like a real locomotive energy to it. Like, I've got to keep this thing going. I've got to keep this thing. There's almost like a pressure of the mind to figure it out, right? And then we can like look outside of ourselves and look at what other people are doing. And then, you know, the whole thing kind of blows up in our face. And we're like, I forgot why I was doing this in the first place, right? Because we're so focused on getting the results we want. And there's nothing wrong with wanting to get good results. But when we let the train, you know, run off the tracks and we lose our connection to our purpose, the strategy can no longer work. Like it can actually get to a place where it's no longer working for us. And we're like, I'm just on this train trying to make it work. And I'm going. And like, I've seen this with myself for sure, but also with my clients, I can see like, oh, the train is running off the track. Like they're on this track, they feel like this is what they need to do and they need to do it this way. And then they lose the joy and they lose perspective. And you know, who doesn't, right? Like with influences like social media and with the digital space, which a lot of us are working in, and even if you're not working in a digital space and you are working in person, you still likely have to interface with the digital space when it comes to your marketing. and your education and your strategies for visibility and connecting to a larger audience. So there's plenty of reasons to get run off track. Like there's plenty of reasons to get distracted and overwhelmed and intimidated by the competition, which when we really look at a deeper level, there is ultimately no competition for what you're here to create. There is only your curriculum for you. And so this is kind of what circles back to this question of like what I hear a lot and what actually just came up in recent conversation, like how come it looks so easy for that person to be busy all the time and to, look like it's all, like working like a well-oiled machine, and for me it feels like an uphill battle. And really what my answer to that is that you have your unique curriculum that your life, your soul, your business, your relationships will carve out for you so that you have maximum capacity to evolve. So the challenges, the obstacles, the locked up places are all specifically designed for you to grow through, and they are unique to you. We miss out on that when we think about business development or even healing and personal development as a one size fits all. And this is why I feel this class and this topic is so important, because when we start to look at the energetics, we can be guided by the ways our curriculum is unique for us and what we are learning on how our life path is growing us. So your business is a consciousness, and it is designed to grow you into the person you are here to be. No question about it. Because just like any relationship, right? Relationships are the chrysalis for our transformation. So you can look at your business as just an exponential version of that. It's like, right? It's like the advanced territory, if you will. Like first, we kind of come in, we go, okay, I know I'm on a healing journey. I know I'm on a path of transformation. I know for myself that I am looking deeper. And then we recognize, oh, my relationships are growing me. I'm not saying this happens all in this order, but like essentially we notice, like, I know I'm on a path of transformation. I see how my relationships are also growing me. And then we say, I want to make my life purpose my business. And then we get, we graduate to the whole next level of like, oh, holy shit, right? It's on every level. I am now being, pushed and shaped and, and then we go through the multiple cycles of death, rebirth, right? And we shed what is no longer who we are, and we become into, right? We are always becoming ourselves, but it's always, right, a refinement of what is before. Hence, I think my passion for this, because I feel like it's one of the most absolutely transformative things we can take on, is to say, I want my work in the world to be a reflection of my deepest creative calling. I want it not only to transform myself, but I want it to transform those I come into contact with. That is what creating a business out of your innermost depth is like. And so we have to look at our patterns in relationship in order to move the business forward as well. So our relationship to spirit, our relationship to our community, our relationship to ourselves, to our loved ones, they all matter, they all count. And they're all indicators of what we're here to learn, right? One of my biggest learnings, if this is at all helpful, was really, really coming into painful recognition of my own perfectionism and how it kept me behind this glass wall. And I had to it shattered. I had to shatter it. It shattered for me. It showed me where it was shattering and go, oh, one of my lessons is accepting the ways I'm unique and that I'm probably not going to do it the way other people do it. And I have to look at how that makes me feel really uncomfortable and that I don't belong. And, you know, I am not the type of person, entrepreneur, who's going to have like millions, thousands of social media followers. Like, that's just not my path. That's not my path. And then to also say, okay, so what is my path? How am I going to do this? Because I know I want to do this and I'm committed, but what is my way of doing this without isolating, without walling myself off, and really giving myself permission to be more of myself? And that took a lot of learning through my relationships how to actually be a better friend, a better partner, a better lover, a better sister, a better daughter, you know, and actually learning that that training ground was actually in my personal relationships. And then my work relationships changed. So wherever there was artificiality was revealed, and I was like, oh, but I don't want this. I want more real, healthy relationships in all areas of my life. So that was one of the things that was really paramount and pivotal for me, and it's changed, you know, everything. And I don't know, some of you might know this, but my business has also gone through an incredible pivot and transformation over the last, I would say, 1.5 to 2 years, where I've had to completely shift the way that I perceive it, relate to it, operate within it. And once I started honoring that, I started receiving and connecting to clients that were better matched for me, that actually really wanted to do the work I was interested in doing, and they were interested in doing it. And it created a whole new synergy. So, and a lot of the ways I did that was through energy work, specifically. Okay, so I think that is all I have to say about that. I think so, yes. Are there any questions so far about what I've shared? Anything at all that I haven't answered or feels kind of missing out? There's a couple more things I have to say, but I just want to see where all of you are at and if there are any questions. Does that make sense, or does that land well? So the next thing I think I just want to mention is that oftentimes, I think why this is hard, why this is so hard, is that, and it could kind of be related to that, you know, that perfectionist. How many of you can relate to that strong wanting to get it perfect, right? Because so here's the thing, we all strive for excellence. Absolutely. I want my work to be high quality. I want to do well. And I know that doing well is not related to an external accolade, but is more in the way that I navigate my own inner defenses and fears, right? Because what we're talking about when we say leading in our lives, in our business, we're talking about cultivating inner leadership skills. Most of us are doing transformational healing and spiritual work. We are talking about an inside out approach. So looking to others or external measurements of success don't usually work well. I mean, yes, we want to see the successes reflected outwardly, but really what we're looking for is an inner sense that we are on track with our higher purposes. Because for most of us, that's what really matters. Like a lot of you in your check-in was like, I really feel the spiritual purpose of my work very strongly. It's more in the relationship or the relational level or the practical organizational level that we feel the struggle, right? That we have to like go, oh, okay, wait a second. So usually we might call this, this purpose driven level, the Jupiterian energy of our being. So Jupiterian energy is like, I feel the vision and my purpose, my higher sense of being very strongly. I feel the expansiveness of my vision very strongly. But where it gets hard for me is how to make that real. So usually we have this relationship between Jupiterian energy and Saturnian energy, which that could be a whole class, and maybe I'll weave it in to the next thing that I'd like to do. But Saturn or Saturnian lessons come in when we are being taught through what's hard, what we have to let go of, and what is discipline. So we're usually like, okay, I see the vision of my purpose, and now I have to what? I have to charge for it? I have to put limits on it. I have to talk to people about it, right? So when we can see that the practical and relational levels are actually sharpening our skill set on how to be even more embodied, even more inner directed, and even more powerful in the way we navigate relationships and business transactions, to say, we're selling our work, we're in the conversation of teaching about our work, etc., then we can embrace the path rather than go, oh my gosh, this is so hard and I'm not really good at it and I don't know how to do that, so I don't want to do that, right? We might run away from it. So I just want to say that wherever you feel challenged is an invitation to see the path ahead of you, right? So the obstacles will present and give you the path. So it's actually moving towards what's hard that we need to do in order to flourish in our purpose-driven work. That's why on my last class, if you missed it, Sales as Service really talked about that, was like really talking about like the number one obstacle for a lot of us that are purpose-driven entrepreneurs is the sales aspect, because it's really not the reason we signed on in the first place, because we just want to be in the work. But essentially, in order for us to be in the work, we at some point have to make sales and the difficulties around it a priority to be able to create something really sustainable, to really have the path generate and become self-sustaining. So, another aspect to why this is hard is that as we move forward in building the business or in any relationship, right, we'll have disappointments. We'll have things not go our way. We'll have objections. We'll have pushback. We'll see that maybe it didn't go the way we planned. We'll feel failure. Like all of these residual experiences, if not acknowledged and dealt with, will hold us back from opening to new opportunities, creating new bodies of work, and being able to respond to how our work is changing and how it wants us to change. So one of the biggest phases that I saw in the last month was many people, conversations around past disappointments that was actually stalling the business from moving forward, or their work from moving forward, or their finances from generating more. or even, reaching new people, talking to new clients, was actually that they were held in past patterns, right? Where dynamics were not healthy, or there was a huge disappointment or resentment or fear that was not being tended to. So that's another reason why I feel the healing work is so essential for us, because it's almost like when your inner, I remember John O'Donohue, he wrote, like, when your inner world is, I'm paraphrasing, but he said something like, when your inner world is not tended to, your outer world becomes like a ghost to you. It's like when your inner world is not alive, your external world will reflect that. And so you can see that if you have a lot of ghosts in the closet of your business, it will stagnate. It will show you where attention needs to go. Okay. Yes, I think that's all I wanted to say about that. Because ultimately, right, we could talk about it, but if we're not in it, it's, really it's the being in the work that's going to move it forward. Like, I could talk to you about this all day, but without you going, okay, Andrea, like, here's the situation, we're not going to get into the alchemy of it. We're not going to get into you can't conceptualize growth. You might start there, but it's not going to move you forward. You have to actually be in the somatic experience of it. And so that's why I think the energetics is so key, so important. All right. Any questions or comments thus far before so for those of you that are receiving the recording, I'm so glad that you're here. We're going to be moving into the experiential part of the class, which is not going to be recorded due to privacy. Want to respect everybody's privacy. So if this is something you want to explore deeper for yourself, you can contact me. We'll include a link below, and we can go over how, working with the energetics of your business and relationships can be supportive to you in a separate call. But for now, I think we're going to transition over to the work and getting into it with everybody, and just want to say thank you so much for being here. And if you are interested in joining a 6-week intro class to the energetics of business and healing your relationships, please contact me. That will be coming up after this class, and you're all invited to participate. So I look forward to hearing from you and connecting soon. Okay, so I'm going to stop.